Hi, everybody. This is Rebecca Rizzo with Energy with Shay Rizzo. That sounded so weird, but you are tuning in. This is like my third time trying to do this episode, and it's all about the solar plexus. I obviously am having some serious blocks because I'm not lying to you. I have redone this one so many times on so many different days. That's why the thumbnail that you see, I'm in a different outfit. My hair is a little different, still wearing the same color, but this has been a really hard one for me. And what I found is when I am going over different types of chakras, and that's what we're talking about, is the third chakra, which is solar plexus chakra. And this is all about that gut feeling. The time that this chakra was most developed is between the ages of 14 and 21. Now, if you think back between what your life was like between 14 and 21, you'll see there's probably a ton of emotional transitions and emotional things that kind of laid themselves to you in that time frame. Lots of firsts, lots of new and exploration as far as you stepping into the adult, all took place between that time frame, so 14 to 21. And I believe the reason I've been having such a hard time is because during that time there has been a lot of abuse and trauma that I suffered, a lot of things that I, over the last year, and this is over 420 days doing my daily meditation, I have realized a lot of the issues that resonated from the blocks that I suffer from with the solar plexus. So the solar plexus, again, developed between 14 and 21 years old. The element that it resonates with, now if you think about all the emotions, right? Think about emotion. Doesn't that get you hot? Well, yeah. The actual element for solar plexus is fire. So that is the fire element. So you just think of ignition and you think of passion, you think of hot, you think of just a lot. And that's really what was going on between that time of 14 and 21 was there was a lot of passion and excitement and emotion and all kinds of everything going on then. Now, when there's an animal too, and the animal is a ram. So you think about ram, it rams into you, right? That's really what it did to all of us. 14 to 21, I don't think any of us got out of that without having some kind of traumatic emotional experience, some type of major breakthrough, and maybe even something that triggered you into doing things that affected you later in your adulthood. That I'm finding out now that was the case. The crystals, and I am working a lot with these crystals. I do find myself, especially lately, being drawn to yellow. I don't know if it's because I've just been trying for over a month now. I've been trying to do this episode, so maybe that's why I'm a little bit more focused on yellow. But the crystals that resonate with that will help you is yellow citrine, topaz, avertine quartz, and sunstone. And then really anything yellow. Now, the other thing I want you to understand too is yellow and when you feel out of balance. So some of the dysfunction that you could feel when you're out of balance is you know that you have that sense of needing control. Like you need to be in control or you just don't feel good. It usually means something's a little out of alignment. If you are oversensitive to criticism, maybe someone is pointing out something they think that you're doing wrong, and maybe you're a little oversensitive to that. Okay? Yeah, that's me. Low self-esteem. Having low self-esteem is something that can really cause a lot of challenge with how you interact with folks because you're seeing things through that filter that you are not good enough. And so everything that comes at you because of that low self-esteem challenge, it has to go through the filter first. And so when people say certain things, you may hear something completely different. And that's kind of the same with all the blocks, but it really has to do with criticism and when someone is trying to get you to do some self-reflection. That really causes some triggers for you. Also, those who have dysfunction in the solar plexus, which is the yellow chakra, hence the yellow, which is the third, and does resonate in the mid area where you're the trust your gut saying, that's where it comes from. So when the solar plexus, think of trust in your gut. And so all of those things that could go wrong in your gut area is actually is attached to that solar plex chakra. This also, some of the things that you really want to make sure that you focus on and that resonate with the goal for those folks who resonate with this chakra. And when I say resonate, it doesn't mean that anything is necessarily define you as that color. Nobody saw something. It doesn't have to be that. It may just be something you're drawn to. It may just be something that you are identifying with as I'm explaining to you some of the dysfunction. Maybe it even has to do with some of the years that I mentioned between 14 and 12, which is when this was generated. Between 14 and 12, if you know maybe there is something that you had to deal with emotional wise during that time frame. So maybe you settle on feeling like there is some blocks or there is something that's out of balance within the chakra. You can usually sense it. Nobody has to tell you anything. If you feel that way, if you're questioning it, the chances are there's probably a little bit of out of balance just because you're asking the question in the first place. Your internal guide, that internal source that is you, that is beyond that observes who you are, okay? Beyond that is you and your source and what is drawn to that need, and the things that only you know. And the fact is, you usually, whenever you ask a question of yourself, you usually know what the answer is. You may not want to know what the answer is. You may not want to hear what the answer is, but you usually know what the answer is if you just quiet your mind long enough and allow it to come out. Main issues for being blocked would be that personal power and self-will. I'm breaking out of this, I'll tell you. I have suffered with having issues with my solar plexus and not trusting my own gut and allowing other people to put their level of importance within my space all comes from this chakra. The allowing, almost like you are sacrificing or you are just surrendering what you bring to the table to allow someone around you to shine. Those are all blocks in that space, that you feeling like you're not worthy enough, the willpower for you to create the space that you want or create the experience you want. That was beyond me until recently. Again, I'm over 420 days doing a daily meditation, and I'm going to tell you, I really can't express to you enough how much it can change your life. Even 5 minutes, guys, just 5 minutes of mindful meditation. That means taking time out, being mindful about stepping into that space and allowing yourself to disconnect from everything else and giving that to you with no strings attached, no guilt, and no worry. Okay, that exercise alone, just allowing yourself to have that space, does amazing things for you, because then you put yourself first. And when you put yourself first, it's a ripple effect, and it becomes more of that energy, that energetic frequency that you're bringing, where you're saying, I am going to care for me first. Now, so many things around you energetically come to you to allow you to do that same thing, to put yourself first, because you change that frequency. So know that personal power and that self-respect is a big, huge part of the solar plex chakra. And when you are lacking that, when you are not feeling that worthiness and you're not feeling that validation and you're not feeling, like you maybe you're oversensitive to somebody criticizing and you're feeling like a victim or whatever that is, you need to have a little more yellow in your life. Now, the way that you can do that is a lot of really cool ways. You can wear it like I'm wearing it right now, okay? Or you can eat it. So you can find things that are yellow and then you can eat it, like lemons, but you need to be careful because that's going to be very acidic and it could hurt your teeth. So be mindful of whatever it is and how you're feeling. But know, energetically, when you are seeing something that resonates at a certain color, it means they're matching. They're matching on that frequency. So the way that you're observing it is the way that it's being experienced. So if you eat something that you observe of yellow, that means that you are absorbing that energetic frequency of yellow. Even if it's going inside you, it's still that same frequency, and everything's energy. So you can kind of get your balance back from the solar plexus and any one of the chakras that you might be out of balance by observing that color and having it in your space, having that around you, consuming that color. You can even bathe in that color. There are special colored baths. I've actually gotten a few. There's color special baths where it can, it's vegetable coloring, so it doesn't stain your skin the way that it is set up, but you can bathe in whatever color you want to resonate with you and that you want to get rebalanced. So if you think it's something that will work, the chances are it probably will, and don't think too much about it. Just go for it. Understand a lot of this has to do with intention. It has to do with what are you expecting from the outcome. What can you expect? I'm expecting greatness. I'm expecting some amazing things to happen right around the corner from now, even though up until now I was incredibly afraid. I'm not afraid anymore. I'm stepping into my future, and I'm not afraid because I cleared my blocks. My solar plex block and that trusting my gut and that self-esteem and that confidence wasn't there. Now it is. And I'm guessing that's why it was so hard for me to do this episode, was because I know I suffered from some serious blocks. And over the last 400 days, I have come to realize that I am powerful and I do deserve greatness, and that I bring a lot to the table, and that I trust my feeling and my gut energetically. All of those things resonate with the solar plex chakra. So the life lesson here is the courage to take risks. Take risks. What's the worst that can happen? Go for it. Really. A lot of the time, everything that we worry about isn't real. So if you really can just step back and remove yourself from the fear of worry about not being good enough, about something not working, and step in to the, how would it feel if this happened? Where would I be when that happens? And when this happens, how will I feel? You need to be more allowing and accepting. The solar plex chakra, again, the solar plexus is a chakra. The yellow chakra is something that all of us could probably work on a little bit further, a little bit more. Trusting that gut, trusting that inner guidance, allowing yourself to calm. So if you have a lot of stomach issues too, this could be some past trauma that you need to work through. I have friends who have irritable bowel syndrome, and that usually does come from some childhood trauma that they need to kind of work through. Now, I'm not saying physically that things will go completely away, but I do believe that if you believe it will go away, that it will. I believe that the power of our mind and the power of our intention is something that people have not even tapped into understanding the full power of. So, I wanted to kind of share with this. This is my third in the series of the chakras and what each chakra is about. If you wanted to go ahead and catch up on all chakras, I do have an overview, and I will put it right there or right there. I'm getting better at editing, so be patient with me. If I do put something up and it happens not to have a link, it's probably because I didn't know. So, or I put it on the wrong end or something. If there's a topic that you would like to talk about, if there is something that you come across and you'd like to share, please put a comment in, share, subscribe too. I want to make this channel filled with all kinds of perspectives that will help others awaken. I want to be able to share tools, share circumstances, situations that people have positively bounce back from or launch from, or just expansion in general happened. I'd love to hear your stories, and I'd love to be able to share, because again, guys, the more we share, the more we can change the world. And it comes back down to what I always believe, right? It's all about finding things to be happy about, right? So if you find you're happy, you need to stay there as long as possible. Energetically, your vibration starts to change when you find things to be happy about, and they start to radiate around you. And as they radiate around you, they start to bump into other things, other people, other animals, other everything that is alive, that is energetically expanding as well. And that can feel your energetic ripple. And when it's positive, it shifts their ripple. And then their ripple radiates out, and then it bumps into people, and it causes positive ripple there. And so you see, the more things we find to be happy about, the more we will change the world. So love, light, many blessings. So I'm so glad you found me. Again, this is Energy with Shay Rizzo, Rebecca Rizzo with the red hair.